What's up, everybody? My name is David Jagno, aka the Jaggernaut, and today I want to talk to you about Donkey Kong Bonanza for the Switch 2. This game just came out. It is the first real exclusive since Mario Kart World on the Switch 2. It came out about a month after launch here in July, and I am really enjoying it so far. I think it is a really fresh take on Donkey Kong. It feels kind of like a combination of Mario Odyssey and Tears of the Kingdom. As weird as that might sound initially, as soon as you play it, you'll understand. There's literally a moment where you drop down from the sky, arms spread out, slowly falling, looking at the landscape down below you. And it feels ripped right out of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. It might even be the same exact shot. I mean, it really does feel like it's ripped right out of there. And then Mario Odyssey is the same development team as that game. So the inspiration there is very clear and evident. There's a lot of elements that feel very, very, very similar, such as the wardrobe feature. Even the wardrobe cabinet looks similar to the one in Mario Odyssey. And overall, it's really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of like they took those two games and combined um, as weird as it might sound, Hulk Ultimate Destruction, if you remember that game, there's just so much destruction in this game. It's all about punching and breaking and digging and destroying, without any real violence, though. As Nintendo does, they managed to make a game about violence not actually have much violence. It feels very whimsical and silly and fun. And I think my biggest issue with the game so far, I'm only a few hours in, but I think for me as a long time Donkey Kong fan that grew up on Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo and DK64 and N64, it doesn't have that personality. And I knew that because the trailers were very obvious that it was going to have a different vibe, a different feeling to it. It doesn't have a lot of those returning elements. It is a very different type of game. It's an open world game in a lot of ways. So I knew that going in, but ultimately I am left a little disappointed because the DK that I knew is evidently very much gone. I like the direction he's going because I think it has a wider appeal, which is nice. I think a lot more people will get into this game. I think it's going to sell very well, which is promising for the future of Donkey Kong and just 3D action platformer games in general. But at the end of the day, as someone in their mid 30s who grew up on the old Donkey Kong, part of me was still hoping that there would be some sort of charm from the originals. And I don't mean that this isn't charming. I just mean that it feels very different. And that's okay. Change isn't bad. I think Breath of the Wild is a great game, but I miss old Zelda too. So like I change isn't necessarily bad, especially whenever you're met with something that is very good like this. So I'm not saying that it's a bad game because it's different. I'm saying that I miss the old version and I do like this one, but I still miss the old version, if that makes sense. And some of the ways that it's very different is obviously, this is more of an open world game. There are, collectibles just like in DK64 or the country games. But it just feels so different. And I think it's once you play it, you'll understand that. If you watch the trailers, you'll probably understand that. But it does have a lot of charm or personality still that is unique to it. And I think that is the thing that is making me really love this game is probably Pauline. I think she is such an excellent character. She has so much personality, so much charm. She's so funny. She's full of sass and spunk. She's a little 13-year-old girl that clings to DK's back and constantly makes little comments here and there, gives you some tips and guidance, gets scared whenever things get hectic. She has a great singing voice that adds a lot of dynamic elements to the gameplay. I think she's a great companion character, and you unlock her pretty early after the first hour or two. In those first couple hours, I was honestly a little underwhelmed, but as soon as I unlocked her, it felt like the whole game just got so much more life. I think having a character that, speaks my language that I can understand is great, but also just her excitement, her whimsy, just adds a ton to the game as a whole. And I think she's a great foil to DK's, brutish, violent nature. She is very cute and adorable, and DK is very protective of her. And I think that is a great element to the game. As someone that is a lifelong Zelda fan that has played pretty much all the Zelda games except for a few, huge fan. I love companion characters, obviously. So many companion characters I feel like have been a staple of Zelda games for a long time, and having that element added here, kind of like the hat in Mario Odyssey, is just great. I love it. I think I haven't tried the co-op features yet, but I love the way that they add personality by injecting a small companion character. I think it's a great idea, and I think it really does give a unique vibe to this game that all the other DK games didn't have. You know, you had partners behind you in the country games, but they didn't speak. So the gameplay in this game, you know, just to talk about the actual game itself, is it's very much destruction oriented. So you can punch in front of you, above you, and below you. You can punch through all rock and mud and dirt type textures immediately. You have to power up to punch through things like concrete and metal, but you can eventually do that too. I think the general gameplay feels amazing. You know, I think Nintendo's always great. Whoever they have in that lab really fine tuning everything just really gets it. You know, these are people that know how to make a game that's fun to play. Even if I have nothing to do or I don't feel like doing the main objective, literally just digging a hole in this game is amazing. You know, punching through a mountain feels fantastic, and there's always something to discover. That's the wild thing here, is that it's not just meaningless, you know, collectibles. You find coins and fossils and bananas and the actual, you know, ore or whatever all the time, and all those things are used for something. It's not just meaningless points. There's a purpose behind every single element of this game, and I think that is so remarkable and is so Nintendo that they have designed a game that is limitlessly, infinitely explorable with a purpose. You know, that's the crazy thing, and you know, it's not like a sandbox where you make your own fun and just sort of create, you know, things out of thin air to do. There's always something to find and discover, you know, all the time. Something that I really liked is, no, it gives you like an objective of where to go, and you can have Pauline sing to highlight your objective direction. But other than that, you're pretty much free to just roam around these large open environments. You can dig down and discover, you know, bananas. And once you get enough bananas, you get skill points. You can upgrade your different abilities or unlock new ones. You can go down and see these little like combat challenge arenas. Some of them were platforming based, some are, you know, battle based. There's all types of enemies I've already discovered in just the first few hours. I really like how they sort of taken a Mario approach where there will be like a large problem in an area that you need to solve, or maybe like a Zelda approach, I guess you could say. Like, for example, one of the first layers that you go down to, there's a large, like water tank that's clogged, and you need to unclog it. But that's really all it tells you. It's like, oh, hey, there's those, you know, plugs in there. Go figure out how to get rid of them, and then you just kind of go and you go explore and you see where the waypoints are. You kind of make your way over there. Maybe you get sidetracked, get distracted, but you never feel bored or lost, I guess is the great thing. It doesn't feel overwhelming either. You know, there's not like a lot of waypoints on your screen clogging up your vision of, you know, where to go and what to do. You just kind of find stuff as you play. And I feel like it might be overwhelming for people that are completionists that want to collect everything. I haven't really looked into how it tracks all that stuff because I don't care. But you know, just playing the game is so fun. You know, I think at the end of the day, that's the big lesson here is like this is a fun game. You know, and I think you know that might be taken for granted because it is a Nintendo game. Everyone is expecting that, but I think we need to give them credit for always finding the fun. You know, that's what Nintendo does best, and that's what they've done again here. And I think, you know, I'm a few hours in, like I said, not super deep, pun intended. But I have, you know, played enough to form a first impressions here to kind of, you know, just what I think so far. I'm very happy with the game. You don't have any regrets in pre-ordering and buying it. I'm gonna be finishing it for sure. Like I said, I'm not a completionist, so I'm gonna roll credits and then probably move on. But I will keep the game. I'm not gonna sell it or anything like that. So if that's enough of an endorsement for you, I definitely recommend DK Bonanza. I think a lot of people are going to love it more than I am, even though I do love it. I think the reviews are very positive for a reason. But for me, I hope it doesn't mean the death of old Donkey Kong. I hope we still get platformer first games. I hope we still get games that feature the DK family as playable characters. Maybe they are in this, I don't know yet. I hope we still get a lot of that old charm from the country and 64 games in some way. I really hope that that doesn't go away entirely. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you're playing this game too, I would love to know what you think. These are my thoughts so far based on what I've played, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I feel like DK Bonanza is going to be a Game of the Year contender. I don't think it'll top Clair Obscure Expedition 33 for me personally, but I do feel like it'll get its flowers at the Game Awards, and Nintendo will once again, have plenty of accolades as they usually do and as they deserve. So let me know what you think down in the comments if you played DK Bonanza. I will maybe do a full review. Let me know if you want to hear my full thoughts after I finish it. Drop some thoughts down in the comments, and thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.